Welcome to the Hidden Palace with Skyblaze.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am Skyblaze, and this is the Hidden Palace here on Radio Sega. So yeah, I've been away for a while because I've been doing this thing which is apparently called socializing. Most of August has been really busy. So I went to go and see my parents. I went to a friend of mine's birthday at a teppanyaki place and did an escape room and various other stuff. And now I'm exhausted, so I'm looking forward to chilling for a whole month until Sonicon and TotoroCon. Well, 2 months in November, so yeah, I get to rest for 2 months until I have to be busy again. But anyway, a few weeks ago, Grey4 and I went to go and see the new Superman film. And yeah, I thought it was a lot better than the last few films that we had that were featuring the big blue Boy Scout. I thought it was the first film since the Christopher Reeve movies actually really understood the character. Not perfect by any means, but certainly better than like Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman.
Batman vs Stupid Man.
Grey4 actually watched it on the plane when we were going on holiday to Turkey at one point, and I looked over and I saw this thing that was like a 10-year-old child's first attempt at sculpture in clay. And I was like, what is that? And he said, Doomsday. I went, what? He went, yeah. So yeah, moving on. So with this in mind, I thought it would be a good idea to take a look at some Superman games that came out on Sega consoles. So don't have to worry. There will not be Superman 64 on this. Fear not. So, I'm going to start with Superman Man of Steel for the Mega Drive, which was developed and published by Sunsoft in the US and released in 1992. You, of course, play the role of Superman as he patrols Metropolis, fighting crime and tackling some of the more notorious villains from his rogues gallery. Possibly due to hardware limitations or feeling that allowing him to fly everywhere would lead to people skipping the majority of the game's content. I mean, valid. Sunsoft made the decision to remove Superman's ability to fly in quite a lot of the game's levels. So you only have access to one of Superman's powers at a time, so you'll either have super strength, laser vision, or hyperspin. Hyperspin? Okay. Which is a form of super speed that can be used to dig into designated spots. Kind of like what happened in the 1978 Superman film with Christopher Reeve. So that's clearly where the inspiration for that was going from. I'm going to loop my talkpad. There we go. Where was I? The game is split into 5 episodes, each being mostly unconnected story, with each one ending with a fight against one of Superman's villains. Starting with episode 1, where he is investigating the kidnapping of children across Metropolis. Travelling across the rooftops, Supes manages to locate the villain behind all this, who is the Prankster, a comedian who had turned to crime following the cancellation of his TV show. And he initially sought to take revenge against the network executives who had it canned. I'm fairly sure that a lot of people, especially fans of any show on Fox in the 90s, will understand this urge. I've had to be a little bit creative with the music here, so I am going to play a track from Superman and Man of Steel. That is the music from round 1. But then I'm going to play something from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'm fairly sure you can guess which one it's going to be. So enjoy that, and I will be back after this music break to talk about episodes 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Hello, my name is Gavi and you're listening to The Hidden Palace with Skyblaze on Radio Sega.
And we are back. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Metropolis Zone. Because, you know, Superman, Metropolis. Makes perfect sense. Viper says he thought it was going to be Supersonic, so I was actually a little bit surprised. I did think about that, but I changed my mind. So, and I really like the Metropolis Zone theme anyway. So, where was I? Episode 2 of Superman the Man of Steel on the Mega Drive sees Superman investigating the Metropolis City Bank, following the rescue of several Underground Rail engineers who had gone missing. Turns out the area they were rescued from has a railroad which leads directly underneath the bank. Here Superman has to contend with one of his more recognisable foes, Metallo, a criminal whose brain was placed into a kryptonite-powered cyborg body. Because this is the sort of completely normal thing that happens in comics. And then in episode 3, Lois Lane, hooray Lois Lane, has been kidnapped for the first time ever. This has never happened before in any Superman story. Well, it has to happen at least once, I think it's contractually obligated. Flying out across the sea, Superman uncovers a cave system on a nearby rock formation, where he has to contend with some guy who has a jetpack and a laser gun and bombs. I genuinely don't know who this is meant to be. I don't know if they invented this guy for the game, or if he is actually a really obscure part of Superman's Rogues Gallery. Because I'm blanking. I admit I am more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan, but yeah, drawing a blank on this one. If anybody else knows who this might be, yeah, okay, cool. So sadly, Superman did not get there in time, and a rocket was shot into space, with Lois Lane aboard it. Flying into outer space, we begin episode 4, where Superman has to face off against numerous alien craft, eventually coming across a mothership. Destroying this allows him to get access to the internals of the ship and the identity of who has actually kidnapped Lois. It's Brainiac. Brainiac is actually, like, the catalyst behind some of my favourite Justice League Unlimited episodes. I love Justice League. Yeah, the animated DC cartoons were mostly where most of my DC knowledge comes from. Where was I? Episode 5. You are flying around the inside of the ship and utilising teleporters to progress further into the core. Superman has to contend with a number of Brainiac's creations before finally facing the man himself. By defeating Brainiac, the day has been saved and Lois can be safely returned to Earth. During each level, you actually have a chance to encounter Mr. Mixespitlik, who turns up and causes trouble. I tried to find footage of this, but I couldn't to find out what he actually does. But I couldn't find any, and I didn't really have time to actually, like, find a ROM for it and play through the entire damn game to figure out what was going on. But apparently the game manual says that he can't be harmed, so you're better off keeping an eye out for him and avoid him when you can. Okay. So alongside the Mega Drive, versions were released for the Master System and Game Gear. However, there appears to be one distinct difference between these and the Mega Drive versions. Unlike the Mega Drive version, Superman can fly. Like, all the time. So, holding the jump button allows him to fly around the level, so I'm struggling to figure out why they couldn't have just done that in the Mega Drive version. Because, you know, there are ways to design a level to encourage you to actually follow the path rather than just fly over it. But what do I know? Anyway, let's have some more music, shall we? What on earth is that? Oh. Doan's saying, are we discussing Superman games? Have we discussed the best one on the N64? Like I said, Yeah, I said earlier, it's like, we're not covering that one because it's not on a Sega console. We're safe. It's okay. We can breathe. So let's have some more music. So, Superman the Man of Steel, Round 5, Brainiac's bass, requested by Electric Boogaloo. And then from Sonic Rush, we have Metal Scratching, because of the reference to Metallo earlier. Look, shut up. I'm doing my best with this, okay? A very limited number of music tracks here. Pocket Larry is saying someone should port Superman 64 to Saturn. As long as it's the beta version, because that one is actually alright. Playable. Before it was ruined because of executive meddling. Anyway, moving on. Music! I'll speak to you after this music break. Please enjoy. And we are back! And that was Sonic Rush Metal Scratching, and before that we heard from Superman the Man of Steel Round 5 Brainiac's Bass, requested by Electric Boogaloo. I had Enya Haman's ident in there, which mixed really well into metal scratching, which was very strange. But well done, Radio Sega, for that, Radio DJ, for that very nice crossfade. So, because of how Radio DJ works, I can't really do the crossfades manually. They're just automatic. So it's very funny when you get a really nice one like that. Anyway. So the other Superman game that I'm going to cover today is, I think, the better known one. And it is The Death and Return of Superman. Developed this time by Blizzard Entertainment, yes them, and Sunsoft, and released in 1995. And it follows the comic storyline of the same name. This storyline, if you're not familiar with it, the Superman a supervillain Doomsday appears and challenges Superman, destroying a good portion of Metropolis in the process, and ending with the death of both Doomsday and Superman. 4 months later, 4 quote-unquote supermen appear in Metropolis, either claiming to be Superman or at least his replacement. These are Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, the Man of Steel, sometimes just called Steel, and Superboy. Our game starts out with the original Superman as he is trying to thwart the Underworlders who have caused an electrical blackout of Metropolis. Here we get a brief taste of what the game is actually like, and it's actually a bit of a kind of a beat 'em up, and works quite similarly to Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, but thankfully you can actually fly in this game, which is useful for reaching higher areas and enemies. Each of our Supermen in this game have a super weapon projectile attack, which can stun enemies but does little damage. They also each have a screen clearing attack, but similar to Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, these are limited to what can be restored with the appropriately collected power-up. If you're familiar with the magic system from Golden Axe and Golden Axe 2, it works pretty similarly. I don't know, saying I can't keep up with this kind of thing. I like the new film because doggy. Fair. I mean, Crypto is adorable. A little shit, but he is adorable. But yeah, as I said right at the very start, the new Superman film is probably the best one since the Christopher Reeve movies, in my opinion. I probably should have put another break in earlier on the previous section, but never mind. Let's have some more music, shall we? So, from The Death and Return of Superman, we have a track called Siege of the Underworlders. And then, because I've mentioned Golden Axe and the magic system thereof, let's have a track from Golden Axe. And because it's me, let's have a track from Golden Axe on the Commodore 64. So we're going to have Death Adder Wilderness from the Commodore 64 version of Golden Axe. So I hope you enjoy this, and I'll be back after the music break to talk a bit more about the death and return of Superman. Sorry about that. Gavi just distracted me. Because apparently 9 Inch Nails are releasing the Tron Ares soundtrack on cassette. This is because we're talking about vinyls on the Discord chat. I said my mum's been trying to convince me to buy a vinyl player, even though I don't have anywhere to put A, a vinyl player, or B, the actual vinyl albums. I mean, I could probably come up with somewhere to put the player itself, but the album's a bit more tricky, and it's not like I need another thing to collect. Considering I have 12 games consoles already. And the games. Anyway, moving on. The music break, we had Golden Axe on the C64 Death Adder Wilderness, and before that we had From Death and Return of Superman Siege of the Underworlders. Following the restoration of power in Metropolis, a news bulletin reports that Doomsday has arrived in Metropolis and Superman rushes in to defeat this mighty foe. But sadly at the cost of his own life. Subsequent levels follow the story of the comics, with Cyborg Superman attacking a Project Cadmus base to deal with Doomsday, who as it turns out was only rendered comatose and not actually killed. Upon locating him, Cyborg Superman launches Doomsday into deep space. We next play as the Eradicator, who has to face off against the Man of Steel, aka Steel, the result of which leads to the Eradicator learning that it takes humanity and compassion in order to actually be Superman. Following this, the Eradicator flies to Coast City, which has been destroyed by a mysterious spacecraft. Here we learn that the one behind this attack is none other than Cyborg Superman. Sadly, Cyborg Superman does actually manage to get the upper hand and defeats the Eradicator. Ooh. Loop talkbed. There we go. We then get to play as Superboy, who, after cleaning the streets of Metropolis of crime, has also flown to Coast City and is briefly defeated by the Cyborg Superman, who reveals his plan to destroy the world and recreate it in his image. Managing to escape, Superboy heads back to Metropolis, where he encounters the Man of Steel and, in fact, the real Superman, who is now sporting a black version of his outfit. Superboy explains the situation, and together they rush back to the ruins of Coast City, now dubbed Engine City by the Cyborg Superman. It's like, was Cyborg Superman like channeling Dr. Robotnik at this point? While Superboy attempts to stop a missile attack on Metropolis, we get to play as the Man of Steel as he enters the core of Engine City to take it out. Superman then attempts to defeat his cyborg counterpart, but in his weakened state, he is no match. But just in time, the Eradicator arrives and merges with Superman, because that's the thing, restoring him to full strength and giving him the edge that he needs in order to defeat the cyborg Superman. Hooray, the day is saved! Viper's saying amateur numbers. Is this because of the number of consoles I have, or?
No, I think it's the vinyls.
Okay. What else is going on? Darn, you've seen my speakers. They're the ones I use on a daily basis. They're the ones that are next to my TV.
The ones hidden by the TV.
Well, partially hidden by the TV. The enormous, massive, terrifying telly that my mother got for me. So, I was saying you can cram a few or 30 more in there. Response to Rick's data disc vinyl collection. Ah, okay. That's just as well. Anyway, let's have some more music, shall we? So, from the Death and Return of Superman, we have the title screen, and then I was running out of inspiration, I admit, so from Gunstar Superheroes, we have Gunstar Heroes, the arranged version. Shut up, it has heroes in it. Superheroes, in fact. And also it's a pretty good track, so please enjoy that, and I'll be back after this music break to enter the Chiptune Corner.
Hey there, Rexy here. While I'm not diving into the wonderful world of Sega remixes, I like to look up and study lots of things about the world around us. That's why I'm glad to hear The Hidden Palace, hosted by Skyblaze, right here on Radio Sega.
And we are back. And that was Gunstar Heroes arranged version, and before that we had From the Death and Return of Superman, the title screen music. Discord chat is bitching about limited run games, which is fair. We're still waiting for the Sonic and X Shadow Generations special edition stuff. We actually received the game fairly recently, the physical copy of the game, but I mean, it's pathetic. The limited run games are absolute trash. Don't buy from them. I'm quite happy that Lost in Cult have actually started their own limited edition physical games service. So if they do something I'm particularly interested, I'll probably get something from them, but I don't think I'm gonna get something from limited run games again, because there's no justification for the amount of delays that they've forced people to put up with. Anyway, time for the Chiptune Corner! So, Northern Irish artist Chip Zell has become known for her work on games such as Dicey Dungeons, Super Hexagon, and Cadence of Hyrule. She recently released a new track which is called Did You Leave Your Brain at Home? Which you can find on her Bandcamp page.
I'm feeling called out here.
That's not my problem. But I'm not going to play that one for you, because I'm going to encourage you to go and buy it yourselves instead. It is £1 for that one track, but I also encourage you to look through her other works, and I'm going to play you one of her tracks, which is from one of her older games, the title track from Spectra, in fact. So I hope you enjoy this. And I'll be back after this to close out the show. And we are back, and that was Chipzel with Spectra. So I hope you enjoyed that. I encourage you to check out her Bandcamp page and give her money, because she's actually really nice. I was on a bill with her at a Steel City Chiptune at one point, which was terrifying, because she's a BAFTA nominee and I'm nobody. But she was actually really lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I believe we do have a Gavi tonight with SNS and Rexy tomorrow with Sega Mixer Drive. So we're getting the band back together for this month. Check out the website for the full schedule as usual. If you have any ideas for future topics that you want me to cover on the Hidden Palace, you can get in touch via Discord. Or you can reach me on Blue Sky, where I am blazing skies at bluesky.social or whatever it is. The standard one. I have been Skyblaze, and this has been the Hidden Palace here on Radio Sega. One last track from the game that I have spent quite a lot of the past couple of weeks playing. That would be Unicorn Overload. So, yeah. I rolled credits on it the other day, it's great. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please take care, everybody, and good night.
Enjoyed the show? Check out the full Radio Sega live schedule at radiose.ga/shows. Radio Sega, playing the best Sega music 24/7.